So please feel free to raise up your hands if you're not able to use the chat. And then one other thing is, as you're joining the webinar or you're joining the meeting, it's important that you accept to be a contributor, because that's when you're able to view the chat and then you're also able to contribute. So thank you. And thank you again, Larry. That was so that was so amazing. Okay, so there's something else I was going to say, and I don't want to spoil the surprise, because there's going to be a surprise towards the end of this webinar that is going to be presented by Uthman. So this surprise is more of a special offers to freebies that we would be giving to people, attendees, and you can only see this, of course, if you wait till the end of the webinar. And trust me, this is totally worth your time. Okay, so Uthman would be taking over from here, and he would be discussing, because he's had over 10 years of experience building AI systems. He has that experience, and he's going to be taking us through how this AI selling system can help transform your sales funnel. So Uthman, you can take over now. Is Uthman there?
So, sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. I was like, okay, where are you?
Thank you, Larry, for the brilliant presentation, and of course, Mary, for coordinating this this interesting webinar. A lot has been discussed already. A lot about what the ecosystem looks like, what the market looks like, the opportunities in the real estate space, and of course, what are the changing trends in the real estate markets, right? My job here is actually to break it down a little bit further, you know, by clarifying a few things. I would like you to go to the next slide, please. Real estate sales has changed. The businesses, real estate developers, real estate agents, or real estate brokers who have refused to change don't have a chance in the future, right? In today's market, and even in the future that is not so distant, there are three components of a sales acquisition system that we're going to be looking at today. One is the process, right? Second is the system. And third is the people. The people are here already, so there's not much to talk about with regards to people. You want to sell, you need people who do the selling, right? And all the folks that are in this call today are the folks that expectedly should actually be doing the sales. So we want to iron out two critical parts of sales today, especially when we talk about client acquisition system or AI-powered client acquisition system. We're going to start with the process, the systems, and then we'll get into some interesting conversation around data. So let's start with, what does a typical real estate process looks like, both on a global space and both from a local space? Always start with the views and the awareness, right? Larry mentioned know, like, and trust. This is the fundamental of driving awareness and leads for your business. You need to be known, you need to be trusted, and you need to be liked. The biggest challenge with the real estate sales today is not that a lot of people are not really generating leads. They are generating leads, but they are either generating the wrong leads, they are generating low quality leads, and even when they do generate some leads, after spending hundreds of thousands or sometimes even millions, you know, depending on the currency we are looking at, they still end up getting those leads, but they are not able to properly take full advantage of the leads they generate, because they are looking at sales as an isolated system without necessarily seeing it as a complete system. So there are 5 critical stages that every sales process or every sales organization need to have in place, based on tons of clients that we have actually dealt with across multiple industries. The principles are the same, The systems are different, but the principles are the same. So I'll start with the first one, which is awareness. Awareness is critical. You need to generate lead, and that's fundamental. So I'm not going to overflog that part. However, there's the second critical part of a sales system that needs to be ironed out by any business that wants to stand a chance in the market today. And that's what we call the profiling and the onboarding. A lot of folks sell and try to sell to everybody. They run marketing on Facebook. They target everybody on Facebook. And even when they run the ad and the ad contacts them, they are not exactly able to determine which of this lead is genuine, which of this lead is not genuine, which is motivated and which is not motivated. That is a major gap in your sales process that we are going to be looking at today. The third stage of real estate sales has to do with engagement and property showings. A lot of folks emphasize, of course, do a little bit of wonky job without saying anything in a nice way, right? Of property showings. Don't forget the fundamentals that we're trying to iron out. The elephant in the room here is the changing landscape in the buying pattern. Your buyers are abroad. Your buyers are professionals, the Gen Zs and the Millennials. These are digitally savvy. Yet you want to sell a house to them, driving them all around the cities of Lagos and Abuja and Port Harcourt. When in actual fact, you can't deploy technology to actually make your life seamless. You are running billboard and you are targeting people abroad, and you are running billboard that is scattered around Lagos. And yet you are trying to sell to people abroad, right? Fundamental gap. So we are going to go to the next step, which is closing the deal. In today's market, we still see a lot of real estate businesses who actually tell clients, can you please send me your driver's license? Can you please send me the name of your company? And they want to sign a contract. They still send scanned documents to clients in different parts of the world, and they want to close the deal. You know what happens in all of these processes is that for every transaction you do that is manual, that technology and system is not built to support, you are basically burning your marketing spend, you are burning the opportunity in your sales, and you don't stand a chance in the future of sales and marketing. And then the final part of this funnel, which is the advocacy and the retention. I'm going to ask this question in the chat today for the real estate folks that are in this group. How many of us have a database of all customers that we have dealt with in the last 5 years of doing business? I don't want to guess. Ellen Jacob has raised hands. I'll allow her to speak.
Ellen, please go ahead.
Ellen, are you there? Okay, she can drop a comment. So fundamentally, it's very important that as a sales professional in the real estate space, you need to think about not just creating awareness. You need to think about profiling your leads, which means you need to be able to identify immediately somebody contacts you. You need to have a system that allows you to determine if this is a highly motivated buyer or a time waster. Which sometimes you find people who are not necessarily time wasters, but they are not just ready to buy today. The question is that if they are not ready to buy today, what are you going to do to keep them engaged so that 9 months down the line, 10 months down the line, they would come back to you because you are top of the mind, which is where the third systems you need to have in place is there. Engagement systems. And then you have what we call closing the deal, right? In fact, more importantly, is the last part of your sales funnel, which is the advocacy and retention. Any business that any buyer today in the current world goes online to search for any companies that they want to buy from, right? And what they do is they go on Google, they search for real estate business or companies in Abuja. The top 5 real estate businesses in Abuja are the businesses that stand a chance in the Nigerian market today. And the reason why that they are actually ranking #1 on Google is because of a system they have put in place to drive retention and advocacy. And that's what we call the Google profile system. When you sell as a real estate professional, do you have a system to go and ask them, what was your experience like during this purchase process? And even when they buy from you, do you have a system that sends an anniversary congratulatory message to them after 1 year of being in that property? These are fundamental tricks that you need to put in place as part of the buying process. So, in summary, from a system standpoint, you need to have a system that drives awareness. You need to have a system that drives profile. You need to have a system that drives engagement. You need to have a system that drives closing of your deals, and a system that drives advocacy and retention. Let's look at the second information we have here, which are some, no, not here yet, interesting data to back up my point.
Before you continue, sorry, there's something I need to let some people know, please.
Okay.
Like Helen wanted to speak earlier on, and I think she couldn't speak because she's only here as a viewer. So again, once you join this webinar, you need to accept to be a collaborator. So there should be something more like a notification telling you to accept to be able to contribute. So please, I have quite a few people, and I'm sorry, Uthman, you continue shortly. It's just I have quite a few people here that are here as viewers, and I am so sure they would want to contribute. So I'm just going to call names if you don't mind. I have Ellen for sure, Ellen Jacob. If you can accept, just check if you see any notification that says you need to accept to be a collaborator. Please kindly accept so you're able to collaborate with us. There's a King Bola Oladapo Bayo also. There's Ballad Shelter. Forgive me if I don't pronounce your name correctly. I'm really sorry. And there's Jamai. There's Martha Ari. There's Mary. Mary has been around for a while. She joined in quite early, and I'm sure she would want to speak. So please check if there's a notification that you need to accept for you to be able to collaborate. If you don't mind, if you have to maybe leave just so that you can quickly rejoin to be able to accept that notification, please do, because we would love to hear from you also. Thank you. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you, Mary, for the announcement. Yes, so I just to get my thoughts back, I've explained the 5 different stages that you need to account for. For some businesses, yes, they have the capability of sorting all of these processes, but at a minimum, there are certain processes. Out of this process, you need to sort out at least 2 of those processes to make sure it's iron tight, and then you can roadmap it into the future. But away from that, let's look at some interesting statistics. And those statistics or some data point will back up each of these different sales process. The first is that 95% of buyers today start their search online. Think about it. Yet, many of our sales folks, developers still invest heavily in flyers that would never last one day in the hands of the whoever is handed it off to, and field sales team that do not have a clear strategy of execution. Secondly, most real estate professionals have more than 3 channels. They have a website, they have an Instagram, WhatsApp, and even some have 5 phone numbers, right? They are talking to one lead in this phone number. The next day they are talking, the lead is contacting them on another phone number. and there's no unity in the sense of where their leads are actually managed. How do they manage the conversation with their leads seamlessly? The first year, the second year, the fifth year. How do they ensure that there is a seamless communication? The third point I want to raise from this flow is most real estate professionals have to schedule multiple showings every month to be able to close one single deal, but they have no system to track or automatically follow up or even capture feedback in one place, not even a system to do a virtual tour if possible. Fourth point, 70% of qualified buyers fall through between showing stage and contract stage. That's not because they are not motivated to buy. It's because every lead have different motivation at different points. Some are planning to buy 2 years' time. They're already talking to you now. Some are buying in the next 3 months. They are talking to you, and some they are trying to buy in the next 9 months. They're already talking to you, but you don't even have a process to do continuous engagement. And then finally, the retention and advocacy. The most valuable customer you have or lead is the customer that has bought from you. Unfortunately, 60 to 70% of long-term sales is driven by people who have bought from you. Yet, most agents only maintain touch point with less than 20% of their past clients. Why is all of this all over the place? I would open the stage for whoever wants to provide their thought on what are the current challenges as to why you are not able to do things the right way based on some of the statistics we see today. Please, next slide. But before the slide, I want to take some, questions, contribution.
Let's brainstorm. You can raise your hand. Yeah.
So the questions are here. You want to address one, depending on which one it kind of piques your interest. Why do so many real estate professionals ignore the buying signals online, right? Why are you still trying to sell using the traditional flyers and all of that? Why are you still relying on callbacks and, why are you not chasing referrals and repeat business from those who are already buying from you or who have bought from you at some point? Why do you stop chatting with the leads after 2 contacts? You call them the first time, you call them the second time, you give up. Sometimes you completely forget about the lead that spoke with you 6 months ago. Why are you not able to sustain your conversation with your lead? This is a question for the group to discuss.
Please feel free to raise up your hand, or you can, if you don't want to talk, you can put it in the chat. I'll definitely see it. Please feel free. And as you're joining, please ensure to click accept the collaboration prompt. Does anyone want to?
Anyone wants to share their thoughts? Yeah, Jamal.
Oh, yeah, got one. Thank you, Jamal. You can go.
Can you speak though?
Okay, so Jamal, you're showing here as a viewer also. Is it possible you kindly exit the meeting and then join right back immediately? You will see a prompt that should tell you to accept to be a collaborator. So please, okay, so just 10 minutes.
Bala Shelter has raised his hands.
Okay. And I'm so sorry, Jamal. I'm sure we'll fix this. Our technical team is working on this to know to see what the problem is. Bala, you can go ahead, please. It's also showing here as a viewer. Okay. Let me see. Jamal is still showing as a viewer.
Even Ballard is trying to raise his hands to contribute.
Yeah. It's the same issue.
Yeah, Sean, he can speak. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So I did click on the, I accepted, and I think there's still that button that doesn't really give you access to, to raise your hand, because I try to do the same thing too. I'm not a real estate professional, but I'm just looking at why you leaving referrals and repeat business to chance. My own comment is sometimes when we close deal, I'm a salesperson, right? So sometimes when we close deal, whether it's a short or long sales cycle, and then we think, you know what, okay, yeah, I've done this, I need to move to the next to the next client. Sometimes the journey, we go with the customer, right? Trying to the prospects, identifying all that, and by the time we close the deal, we just feel okay, you know what, let's move to the next person. Maybe there isn't anything more this person can offer. But to Shafal's point, it's just essential, right, for you to keep connecting with your customer that you've closed that deals with. Sometimes you get insights from them, and sometimes you don't get referral that could bring out something positive immediately, but having that constant touch point or engagement. And I'm not saying blast like messages, SMS blast and all that to them, because sometimes it irritates people too. But finding a way, right, to connect with your customer even after you've closed the deal is really helpful. And in sales, that's also something we don't take for granted. So I mean, that's just my own little comment.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon, for that feedback. Yes. So I'm just going to respond quickly to that before moving on to the next set of conversation. Yes, every deal you close is an opportunity to potentially sell better, right? It doesn't necessarily have to even be trying to get them to refer. Sometimes as simple as trying to get them to provide their reviews, right? Learning from the reviews and using it for some sort of social proof, right? Because one of the fundamentals of selling is people want to see somebody else who have bought and want to say that that person bought and was happy. But a lot of us build systems and don't even account for that fact that, yes, people who buy from us are one of the more important sales engine for us, because they are supposed to be, well, we can use that for multiple value props. One is to get them to refer. Two is to get them to provide reviews and social validation. And even sometimes is to learn from them on how we can improve our services, because even if it's a negative review, it's an opportunity for improvement. I do think though that, can you go to the next slide, please? This is where we are going into the system part of our conversation. I mentioned previously that there are three levers here: the people part, which is the people here. There's the system part and the process part. We've touched on the different processes that needs to be ironed out. Every step of the sales funnel needs to be accounted for. And then we can deploy system in place to minimize the manual effort, because from research, the biggest challenge with not following up with clients is systems. There's no system to remind. There's no system to store their information. There's no system to even engage, right? To keep engaging this lead, you require a system. Otherwise, you are going to either burn out your team, or you're going to have to hire a 100-man team to help you drive your sales engagement, right? So let's start with each of these steps, the old way and the new way. My friend here, Larry, has already touched heavily on the old way. So I'm not going to emphasize a lot on the old way. I'm going to go into the new ways, right? The new way of trying to sell these days, trying to get traction with sales, especially from an awareness standpoint, is that you need to go heavily digital. If your if your budget is 20% digital and 80% traditional, you need to start flipping it gradually to the point where it becomes 80% digital and 20% traditional. And the reason is simple. Traditional billboard traditional adverts is not scalable. And by scalability, we mean how possible can you run an advert with billboard and let it be known to everybody in every part of the world in 24 hours? That's only possible with technology. It's only digital ad that you can actually put out there. It doesn't matter wherever you are in any part of the world today. Doesn't matter whether you are in China, you are in Nigeria, you can put your advert out and the entire world will see it in a space of 24 hours, you know. And there are multiple tactics to do digital. However, for the purpose of this webinar, we're not going to go into the details of the tactics of digital transformation. I will touch on some simple things that we can do, right? The first step we need to do here is to at least put ourselves out there with some sort of digital presence. WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and a website at a minimum. It is incredible how many people sell today. And you want to sell a 500 million naira house and they check you online, they can't find you. No one is going to hand off 500 million, 300 million to someone who is not known online, right? And there are digital tools out there, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, that you can do with minimal investment that will put you out there to the world. If you are engaging with your client or you want to create authority, you want to be known as an expert in a space, you can talk in your room and talk to your small circle. If you want the larger circle of the world to know that you are the best real estate person in the world, then you need to put it to the digital footprint. Otherwise, you don't stand a chance, right? Apart from scalability of digital adverts, there's the part of the cost effectiveness of digital advert. It costs an average of 10 million naira to put a billboard on in Ikeja, you know, for a space of 2 months, right? And I don't know barely how many people will be able to see that advert in that 2 months. When in actual fact, that same 10 million can show it to 100 million people in Nigeria when you do digital ads. So in terms of cost effectiveness, in terms of digital scalability, digital ads are the most effective. Beyond creating the awareness, you also need to have, at a minimum, a CRM system that allows you to aggregate all your data into one port. Whoever is chatting you on Facebook, whoever is chatting you on LinkedIn, whoever is chatting you from websites, goes into a port, into a repository where every lead that has ever interacted with you is sitting in one spot. That's the first step of turning around your sales in the digital world. So this is something that we need to take away from here. I would like to put in a caveat. This webinar is not to completely de-emphasize the power of traditional. What we are saying here is that you need to start thinking as the consumer behaviors is shifting, you need to shift along with the consumer behavior. And the consumer behavior is shifting heavily towards digital. Let's go to the next slide. A lot of folks have a website. Some are doing an absolutely great job of building a website. They spend 500,000, sometimes ₦1 million to build an absolutely gorgeous looking website. But you know what happens? You go to the website, you chat up with the website and contact them. I like this property and I would like to buy from you. And then you know what happens? Cricket. 24 hours, no response. 48 hours, no response. Sometimes it can, before this webinar, we did a bit of a research on big real estate professional companies in Nigeria, sent an email to them showing interest in their service. The best one that responded to us responded in 48 hours. The reason is because the website is not connected anywhere to their conversational system. They have a form that says, please contact us, but that form leads nowhere. It's a blank form. They put in the information, the client's request for information, no response. And the interesting thing is there are systems that you can build into your website where immediately somebody lands on your website, they get a notification. Would you love to jump on a call with a sales agent? Imagine having such kind of system that automatically engages you the moment, or engages your clients the moment they jump on your website. Ask them, would you love to jump on a call with a sales agent? Just drop your phone number. And the moment the phone number is dropped, a sales agent in your company is notified automatically that a lead has dropped. Contact them immediately. That's a massive turnaround that you can enjoy in your sales by just implementing a chat box that is not just a chat box that doesn't connect anywhere, but a chat box that connects directly to the phone of the sales team in your organization. Connect instantly within 5 seconds, and even potentially allows you to gather some high-level information about the leads. Remember, we talked about profiling. Profiling, understand what the client's budget is, understand what area they are looking for, understand the timeline and their financing position, and automatically push the information to the sales team so that they are empowered to make that sales conversation going seamlessly. The question here is, how long does it take for the sales folks in this call today for us to get back to a client that reaches out to us on our website? I want 1 or 2 persons to share their thought on that. On the average, how long does it take you to respond to all the leads that you get from your website? If you have your question, you can raise your hand. If not, we can move on to the next slide. Next slide, please. Engagement and showings. Again, without overflogging this, few hours to respond. Okay, Shewin is one of the most sophisticated salesmen here. He probably is well empowered with the right system, but for you to be able to respond within the few hours, it means that you have to have a system. You don't even need to be aware first that you have been contacted, right? If you are not aware, if your system is not built in a way that allows you to be aware that you have been contacted across all your multiple channels, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, website, as long as you have a system that notifies you immediately, then you increase your chance of being able to respond to your leads. So let's move on to engagement. Engagement basically is the part where you keep yourself top of the mind with your leads. It takes an average of 3 to 6 months to close a single deal in real estate. Yet, a lot of real estate professionals don't have a system that allows them to continuously engage with this lead while they are making that buying decision. Having a calendar system that automatically reminds you to do a follow-up to this particular lead would completely transform your sales conversion and the number of deals you have closed or you potentially can close. Because just setting up automated reminders every 2 weeks, every 1 month, depending on how you schedule or the buying pattern of your customer, will completely turn around your sales. So having a calendar system, a reminder system in place would completely turn around when it comes to engaging with your leads and keeping them top of the mind. And my friend Larry also mentioned property showings. Cut the manual property showing to the barest minimum as much as possible. Your buyers would want to see the image in 3D of the properties you are selling first. Minimize having to show them physically to like 9 different properties. Let them see your properties in 3D first, and then, or in virtual tours, and then you can then decide on the top 3 that makes a lot of sense to you or to your lead, and then show that up. That way you are becoming a lot more efficient in your sales process, and you're going to spend more time closing more deals because you have more opportunities to do more showings. Don't forget, more showings means potentially what? More sales. If you spend so much time doing a few showings because you have to do everything manually, then there's not a lot of chance to sell to this new generation of clients. Let's move on to the second to the final slide. Of course, this is where closing the deal comes in. Very simple. This is a straightforward one. If there's anything here, the closing process is one of the processes that people make a decision never to buy from you again, right? They have committed so much time, trying to have the conversation for 9 months, and they finally made a decision. And when they are making the decision, you are making them sign endless manual documentation, when all you needed to do was actually to put in an e-signature system in place that automatically sends requests for signature online. Some of these things are being done today in real estate business, but it's not being done enough, right? If there's anything that would seamlessly transform the decision or the buying experience of your customers, it is actually putting in place an electronic contract signing system that is powered by artificial intelligence. Let's move on to the final slide of this process. This is where I talked about the referral and advocacy. At the end of every sale, you need to have a system that automatically captures the information of some of your customers, information that you can use to do sales in the future. Information like Google reviews, informations like their date of birth, so that you can wish them happy birthday. And so when Sheung earlier was saying you don't want to spam your client, yes, you want to use what they call triggered engagement, right? There are certain moments in the life of your customers that you want to engage with them so that the conversation is warm. One of those days are their birthdays, and one of those days are the anniversaries of the purchase they made. Nobody would ignore wishing me anniversary of the 3rd year in my current property. I would always keep that business top of mind when I want to buy the next set of properties. So let's go to the next slide.
Mr. Uthman, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm just going to interject briefly. Tolu, can you display the WhatsApp QR code? So, and I see so many people, which is very encouraging. I see so many people like going out of the webinar and then rejoining in just so that they can collaborate. So we deeply, sincerely do apologize on that part because I see people are still not able to collaborate. So there's a QR code that would maybe put up right now. And that if you can scan that QR code, it will take you to like a WhatsApp, like a chat where you can put in those questions in chats. Be rest assured, we would be able to see your questions there. And that's just us finding a way around these. So please, yes, this is the QR code. If you can please just take this and then, yeah, it will take you to our WhatsApp, and it's our business WhatsApp line. So there we can take your questions. You can drop your questions for us there, and then we'll be able to take it before the webinar ends. Thank you so much, Mr. Uthman. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sure. Anyways, I was rounding off the part of the system. So I like a few minutes for the for the participants to capture the QR code, and then I can continue.
That would be great. Thank you. Okay. Okay. We're just giving out time for people to be able to scan this code. I'm not even sure they can actually give a thumbs up. Are you able to like give a thumbs up if you scan this code? Just something for us. Oh, okay, amazing. Thank you. And I'm just going to quickly see the names.